good, people? What's good, people out there? It is Liverpool 12th man, and I am doing Tactical Tuesday. Yes, Tactical Tuesday. I'm going to be reviewing the Wolves game and going to be kind of going break it down what we did, how we got it somewhat wrong in the first half. I don't necessarily know if we got it wrong. It's just more so the personnel that we had on the field wasn't able to necessarily, operate and get through what we need to get them through the first half. Wolves definitely played well. They threw all the punches they could at us in the first half, but it was tail two halves, as they say, when it all comes down to it. So I am going to begin by saying hello once again to those that are joining me in the chat. If you're not going to be joining me in the chat and you're going to be watching this in replay, just to kind of get a sense of, the breakdown from myself, I appreciate if you could drop a like. Obviously, leave a comment. If you don't agree with what my analysis was, then that's all good. I'd love the dialogue. I love the interaction. And I love the debate. So let's have it. Anyways, let's get right into it. Okay. So I'm going to show you how we basically broke down in numbers. Big up John Conway. Big up John Conway. Appreciate the love. Always just a proper red. I love the fact that you give support to a lot of content creators across the many platforms, and you're always definitely supportive of all of us. And it makes me proud to say that you're a red, and I love to support you as well, of course. So let's get into it, though. Again, we broke down this game very interestingly. I don't know if you guys, I know the stats aren't really like alluring or like incredible. I know that when we had our stats looked somewhat like this, which is what I have on the board. Wolves had 10 shots, 2 on goal. The one obviously was the one that scored, and they had another one later on in the game. We had 15 shots, we had 4 on goal. But I think the one thing that you will notice, or one thing that should be noticed, is the possession. 67% possession for Liverpool, as opposed to 33% possession. I think that we're going to see this a lot this year, in that we're going to see a lot of teams basically basically understand the fact that you're not going to be able to hold on to the ball the way that they possibly did at points last year with us. And that was something noticeable. I mean, I always look at also corners can be could be somewhat of a dictation of how much pressure you had on your opponent, and also how much you are able to, how much the opponent was actually able to, use that valve basically to be able to get out of the pressure by either thwarting the block and going out, or maybe even just like, trying to get just have no other clearance or no other option for a clearance and have to kick the ball out. The other portion of it, offsides, not a big deal. We didn't have any offsides, which meant that we were holding our lines very well. 11 fouls for Wolves. They are very. You're going to also notice this a lot too. A lot of teams aren't going to be able to necessarily. They're not going to be able to, go toe to toe with us. So yeah. Hey, big up. Base of Flowers, definitely big up. Having a 12-man power for sure, definitely. I have power because you have power, brother. Definitely, we all have power because we're all mighty Reds. But again, you're going to see a lot of fouls, I believe, once you get into it, because a lot of teams are going to be holding, going to be trying to like do tactical fouls. You're going to see a lot of those different things, and that's exactly what Wolves did. I mean, if you didn't notice, which is very annoying to me at least, was during the match, Wolves were going down left and right, especially towards the second half, where they just knew they couldn't really pace, and also it was just a matter of fitness and the amount of intensity, that the level of intensity that stepped up a measure in the second half. Just as Basic Flowers is saying, right here where he says the equalizer plus the subs after it made us strong for Wolves to resist. I agree completely. As in once we had that second half burst of energy, we definitely made it through. Big up Brian in the house, definitely. What's up, brother? Um, I definitely wanted to say though we're going to get into the second half because like I said, it's a tale of two halves. But definitely so. I got really maligned for some of my personal ratings yesterday. But I mean, like honestly, like I said, with my ratings group one, I utilize SofaScore to like kind of give me a stand of like how their algorithm. It's a very good test of the number that usually is on par with what I think too, because they utilize statistics that I like to utilize to evaluate it. I also weigh in my own personal eye test into it. So a lot of different things. But I remember yesterday I got really maligned over the fact that I think I gave Allison not as high rating as Quasi did. And I think that was like it. But I mean, basically he had one save, I mean, he had two shots on net really to deal with. So, and one shot he saved and the other shot he didn't. So, I mean, like, that's why I was kind of like, he had a good game, not a great game, but all the same, Allison's a great keeper, so it doesn't matter. So anyways, yeah, the next statistics that we wanted to show here, gaming fouls, which is very interesting. We have 4 fouls, but we have 3 yellow cards. That's extremely interesting. Let's see, and saves, shots on goals, corners. I already showed those parts of points. I have another slide here, but this is all like techie stuff. If you're into betting or if you're into like that kind of stuff, shout out to Andy Rodson tips on Instagram and on Twitter. He gives out these tips and he gives out things that I actually have been starting to take a little bit more notice of. Because he gives you like little hints and tips on like what your opponent really qualifies and does well on, and what we do well on, how to kind of base and balance it out to see maybe who's gonna suffer, who's gonna prosper, those kinds of things. So I just wanted to show this stat. I'm not gonna really go into this slide too much because it's very wonky, very techie when it gets to like a lot of the stuff in it, and this sheet right here could be an episode in itself. So let's give proper flowers to our captain of the day, Robbo. I think that was very important to say that Robbo was he was a part of the reason why we saw the goal go in originally, and I wouldn't say why we saw it go in. There was more that happened in the play than just Robbo not really tracking well enough to get to the ball, especially since he was kind of like his footing was was like in mid step, so he wasn't really able to kind of get a kick on the ball, even though the ball went across his threshold. He couldn't really like properly get situated and properly properly situated to kick the ball. I think that's what I interpreted. And once the ball went across, he actually had to like readjust. And then even his readjustment, by the time the readjustment was just a really good goal by the Wolves winger Wang. So that was very difficult to really put him as being the only reason why we didn't score, or what reason why they scored. I think there was other portions of why that happened, but he made redemption for it later on. Big up, Marion. How you doing? So this is what I wanted to show. This is like they're showing this is after the goal. So after this goal, you can see Wolves are set up still in a somewhat of a 4. You can see the 4-man here. See the I'll show you even better. You can see the 4 back They have somewhat of a loose four in the back in the midfield, excuse me, and they're even having extra help from their forwards that were trying to basically um, press immediately, as in double wherever the ball was going. So in a sense, if ever anything, you can see here where the circle is on, you'll see this like triangle around the ball. So they're almost in essence trying to smother the ball, take away all the different options, and yeah, I agree. I agree. I understand. I understand. This. Sorry about that. I'm gonna say Brian Morrissey says I still think he should have cleared it, being the Robbo comment that I had earlier. I agree. I thought he could have and should have, but I'm just going under that. Maybe there was just so much going on, and it's so difficult sometimes when you have those quick and quick occurrences that happen. Um, I don't know. What does it say? I don't know what I'm doing. It's good. It's all good. Just sit back and enjoy. You might, you'll pick up a little here and there tactical thing. You can you can talk some tactical awareness with your hubby. Maybe teach him a thing or two. Hey, it's all good. I know Everton can certainly use a little bit of tactical awareness when it comes to their play. But all the same, that was shameless little dig at Everton. So, anyways, yeah, you'll notice though that you have these three here that are just really, really trying to smother the ball, trying to take away options, and there really wasn't that great of movement on our front line. It seemed like we were a little stagnant. It seemed like we were a little bit leggy in the first half for some reason. Not for some reason. We all know that one of the main reasons is because of the international play and a lot of players playing during the break. So there was a lot of different things that you could say hampered us. But after that 1-0, after the 1-0, this is still in the first half here. You can see that we have a back four. Gomez was starting to press forward, and I'm going to bring up my tactical board here too, because that was something that I definitely wanted to show you as well, to kind of give you an idea of it, of what we had to deal with in everything. And I'll pull up here. So I'm gonna write tactical board up. Also, I'm gonna make sure I have my guys all in the right places here. All right, so I'm gonna pull these guys back. So I had them actually adjusted to the play after Diaz had gotten on. Let's see. This is Robbo. So we had, this is the lineup pretty much. This is Dom, it's Salah here, Hakpo. Let's see, where's my Jota? Where's Hatta? I have him over here. And McAllister. All right, so here's basically what we went up against. And I didn't really put it, and I don't really care too much about the Wolves numbers, names. I didn't really get into that. So you just have to, you'll understand what the numbers signify. So, the Wolves came out in something very, very similar to what I have here. They had their 10 down here. They came out more of like a 4-4-2. And that's funny. He's too busy crying. The Everton is going through some real. I don't know what's going to happen with Everton this year. It's going to be very, very tough sledding for them this year, and it's going to be very difficult. But so Wolves came out in even more so. They came out in the back four. They had two defensive midfielders. They came out in even though they didn't have necessary wingers per se, they still had, it's more like a 4-2-3-1, and rather than a 4-4-2, excuse me, but 4-2-3-1. But these players here, they ended up playing very, very aggressive by going forward and providing those wing support. And even here, he would push into that midfield and go up as an extra striker. Excuse me. So we also saw a lot of what we didn't see is McAllister had no legs really. That was the unfortunate thing about him. He didn't really have much legs. So by not having the legs, you really didn't get to see or used to seeing when it comes to McAllister. You know, you didn't really get to see the ability to take on players and be able to dictate the play and show where you want to go with a lot of where people can make these runs into the channels and he'd be able to just pinpoint somewhat what the reason why. And this is, again, let me emphasize, if you haven't watched the Thiago video I brought up, please do check it out. It's one of the reasons why Thiago, I am excited to see once he fully gets fit and healthy. And we've given him a lot of time to do so. I think that hopefully once he does get healthy and fit, we can maintain that fitness for him. It's going to make a difference for us, people. I love the fact that we'll then have some real options in that 6. And I think what I mean by that is that we'll have a player that, again, McAllister is a really talented player, But I believe personally, I think Thiago's a better DM than McAllister. I'd love to hear if you think different, but I pretty much think that his football IQ and his ability, having already played there too as well, just distinguishes him as a really formidable option. But again, so with this, we had Robertson, Kwanzaa, Matip, Gomez, Jones, McAllister, Dom. We had Salah, obviously, Hakpo, and Hatta. I'm not going to lie, McAllister was very, 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 you could tell he was very tired. You could tell that he was losing the ball a lot. You could tell that he was having difficulties maintaining his shape and form. So one thing that I really thought was important is, our 12:30 kickoff. Obviously, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but last year we had 3 draws, 3 defeats from our 12:30 kickoffs or our noonday kickoffs. Having these players return the way they did, I knew we were going to see somewhat of some tired legs out there. And I know that this might be crazy, but I still think that despite the fact that a lot of people are thinking, myself included, that Endo would possibly start simply because of possibly fitness and the fact that McAllister had gone to Bolivia. I still thought, though, that McAllister is at current shape and form, again, without Thiago in it especially, in current shape and form, McAllister is an excellent option as that 6. And because it's not like we're looking for him to play a 6. With this back 4, you're able to say, hey, you can be quote unquote a 6, but you're more so like an 8, more so like just a CM, just like we're just going to have a left mid, a right mid, and a center mid, and that's something that I don't mind seeing. I think the reason why I'm saying that is because by doing so, you now place 6 offensive-minded players that are always going forward, progressively going forward. It's very similar to what we hear in for the Spurs, for instance. Spurs have always had coaches that were putting them into the shape and form of being more of a counterattack, more of a defensive-minded shell of a team. And now you can hear the fact that they're saying, oh, well, now we're finally able to go forward. We're finally able to be progressive. This is what a progressive club looks like when you have a center mid that can play defense, that can play, pick up and do some extra leg work, but you also and knows how to be able to do that. But also you have a player that can play center mid, that can play offense, that can really bring out a forward aspect of it. So yeah, and I'm starring your comments, everyone. So yeah, so if you have comments to what I'm saying, or you have discrepancies or something that you want to counter for what I say, then definitely give it in the comments section. I will bring it up for sure. It was just a major difference. So again, I think that what we get to see by McAllister or by hearing or seeing Klopp put in McAllister, it's that frame of mind thinking that, you know what, he knows that despite the fact that we could put a defensive player in, he's not overly concerned about their offensive capabilities, and definitely not the longevity of those capabilities to last. I think that Klopp looked at this and said, hey, you know what? We have Hackbo that can provide some defensive measure, that false nine perspective here. And we could, so therefore we could have McAllister, again, play that center mid as opposed to trying to play that DM role. And it just didn't work out simply because I think McAllister didn't have the legs. He just simply did not have the legs. And what it was for me was after we saw McAllister get subbed out and we saw Diaz be subbed in, night and day difference. Night and day difference. And what he did here was very interesting. What he did here was he allowed for Jones and Dom to play here as the two. Now, I know that, I'm going to put this up too. I know that he basically said, and this is what Klopp said in the press conference afterwards. Let me pull this up here. He said, basically, oops, pull that up there too far. He said, basically, Jurgen Klopp told the TV interviewer after the game that they switched formations and tactics in the second half. At times, it was a 4-4-2, 4-2-2-2, and even a 4-2-3-1. Something that I want to emphasize. So many people have been speaking about differences or the tactical inadequacies of this manager. I think that is small-minded, and as also, if anything, it's just puppet punditry, parrot punditry, if anything. And the reason why I say that is because it's a form and shape. The reason why I call it an amoeba shape is because often, I'll pull this up because often what you'll see is that they had Diaz. Remember, it's not too. He had Diaz. He had at the time when he had Diaz and he subbed out for McAllister. He had Diaz. He had Salah, somewhat like in this position, like in somewhat like a shadow striker in essence position. Even though he did sometimes go out to the wing, but he's primarily more central. Excuse me. Solid. And they had Hata, like not necessarily playing the right wing, but he was again somewhat of like an advanced, like an attacking right, like a right attacking midfielder in that sense. But it wasn't really a right wing position for him. He was so close to the middle. It's almost as if they were trying to get three central players, because you'll also notice that I know people were very maligned about how Gomez was doing the inverted. And I admit and understand he wasn't doing a great job at the inverted position. It's something that obviously they practiced. Obviously, they had confidence that Gomez could be able to handle that role, but it really didn't work out that way. So, because there was a part and point when, for instance, there was a part and point, and let me show you this. There was a part. I'll show you through the tactical, and then I'll also show you a quick synopsis of what it looked like. There was a part and point when this lineup was exactly as you see it. It was Diaz, Hackbo, and I'll even place it in. Diaz, Hackbo, Jones. Robertson was up. They probably went into this. They went this, and let me pull this up for you too, because this is exactly how it looked. There was a part and point when Diaz got subbed on, okay, and they had their alignment like this. Let me get these guys ready. Hackbo was still in the game, okay. Salah was in the game, obviously. Gomez was far advanced. He was up here actually. Hata was kind of shadowing Salah, okay. Dom had the ball. He was a little bit further forward. The pitch, unfortunately, isn't as big as I would like it to be. Dom had the ball, and Jones was here. Diaz was here. Robbo had made a run, and he had made a run where he was making the run. He was in advanced, okay. And Dom obviously saw him making the run. And it was a run where Diaz, and it wasn't as compact as this because it was more so. What you'll notice too is Salah will often, and this is against pretty much every team I've seen us come against. Salah will often get two guys that almost will lock in on Salah. They'll just automatically lock. Whenever we have the ball, there'll be two men almost that double team in essence and make sure that Salah doesn't have a channel and that Salah is marked one way or another. Even if he gets the ball, he's going to automatically have pressure. He's going to have no room or space to breathe. Okay, that again leaves a lot of advantages for Hatta in this position at least to either go off his back foot or cut into the middle. Yeah, and he's always surrounded. I understand that, Brian, for sure. He is definitely always surrounded. That's the reason why I think they really wanted to. That's the reason why they started pushing him in the beginning of the year, at least, and somewhat last year. Why they decided to say, what's one way to get Salah some space to breathe and actually make his runs, receive the ball, be able to do the things that he wanted to do. And I think that's the reason why they pushed him to the touchline to say, hey, by bringing you central, you're going to have a lot of congestion in the middle that you're not going to be able to do the things that we love to see Salah do, which is, we don't see him take on many players that often, and I still think he has the ability to do so, but you just don't get to see it too often. But there was one where Dom was able to pass the ball to Robbo, and then Robbo was then able to find Diaz, making a great run, and he just unfortunately missed it wide with the header. But it was a great header. If he was just a little bit more central, that's a goal. Period. That's a goal. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Excuse me. I'll show you right here. Let me pull it up here for you. We're going through some of the plays. So this is the play I was speaking of. This is right here is Dom, and this is that pass that's going in. This is Robbo making the run. Okay, this is Diaz right here. Diaz is in central to his right. There's so much space for Robbo to run into. Okay, and as you can see, they're in basically. They have. This is where that ball is being placed. Right underneath it. That's Salah who I'm speaking of. Okay, that's Salah right underneath where the ball is. I can't show my pointer, unfortunately. And you can see again, that's where he had the two players that I said that were just focused in on Salah. But by doing so, you're now creating some spaces that are going to create themselves. Okay, and with Diaz, with Hakpo. That's the two players going from left to right. Diaz, Hakpo. That's Hatta, again, that's right to the right of the ball where it's getting passed in. You're able to say, okay, well, Robbo's going to make this run into space. Great. Well, then Diaz is going to follow through, and he's going to have that wide open header. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to put it in, but still, it ended up showing that we're going to start hitting you. We're going to start being able to bring into these places where you're able to, do these different things. Okay, we're gonna create some open spaces and be able to really make some opportunities. Excuse me. So here I'll bring up some of these comments too because I don't want to get too far behind in the comments. It says, Marion says, I don't think Big Mac should have started. He was tired. I agree. Brian was saying Endo, McAllister, and Machete all ahead of him. Thiago plays in the left mid role. I disagree that McAllister is ahead of Thiago in that DM role. I think that I really want to see Thiago be a regista for us. A regista is like someone that is more of like a conductor from the DM spot. He doesn't really go that far forward. If you look at Thiago's stats, and again, please guys, check out that Thiago piece that I did. It's really, really, I mean, I know I did it, so of course I'm going to say it's really good, but but I think it really highlights what I'm trying to say here, which is you'll see how if we put Thiago in that regista role and allow for him to be the conductor from the DM, the statistics also show that Thiago doesn't make a lot of runs, nor does he occupy the opponent's third of the pitch. He's more so a player that plays in the mid, if not the back third, and he's also a player that likes to get is the outlet for Alisson to be able to receive the ball because he has incredible dribbling and ball control skills, and he's able to turn, be able to control the ball, protect the ball, and be able to do passes similar to Trent. And that's why I would like to see him in that DM role. I know he plays an advanced left mid role, the role that we see Jones play, but I think that if we were to do that, we would save some of his legs. We would also be able to capitalize on his ability to be that player, to be that outlet to initiate our offense. Very similar to Trent, and having Trent and Thiago there, I think are having it on the right and left hand options for you, I think are exceptional. Vase of Flowers is saying the same as Marion. Mac was leggy, he was mad for sure, but I mean, like, it's what happens. That altitude is crazy. It happens here in America here too. If you ever go to Denver, or if you ever go to there's portions of where I live in Arizona, if you go to the Grand Canyon, once you start getting into that higher altitude, I'll be there this weekend, for instance. I'll be in Flagstaff. You start getting to those higher altitudes, it affects the oxygen going to your brain. It shuts down so that you're a little bit like less likely to make real pinpoint decisions. It definitely takes away your ability to get oxygen to your lungs, to be able to do things. It is really, really crazy. Vase of Flowers is also saying, I want to see us be more tactically inventive. I think that we are, Vase of Flowers. I mean, I know that could be an easy inception of what we need to do. But I think that we do. Again, once I said earlier, we had an inversion of an amoeba formation that we saw 4-4-2 at times. We saw 4-2-2-2 at times. We saw 4-2-3-1 at times. There was some real ingenuity in what we saw in our form and shape in the second half, and it completely tactically, for all those that are so quick to get on Klopp's back and say, oh, he's he doesn't make changes, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. He did it in the second half. You got to give him credit when credit's due. I understand criticize him when he doesn't do the right things, but when he does, you got to give him credit. Diaz pace stretched him immediately, and Hackbo got more space as a result. Agreed, and that's the reason why he got the goal. Salah is always surrounded. Yeah, again, you could see in this play, you could see how he's surrounded. Let me see and again, here's another one. You can also see here's another form where we do have Salah with the ball out wide, okay, ability to see and have the ability to understand where he wants to go with the ball, what he wants to actually do. And you can already see the fact that, yes, this man here has to this man inside of the, not the guy guarding Salah, but the guy exactly to his, I guess you could say his right, inside of him, he has to mark these players. He has to see that these two players are going to be able to make these runs. And knowing that these two players can make these runs, it's going to be, you're going to have a situation where, okay, do the Wolves take, basically slide that player over to double him, to take on a real goal threat in Salah? No, you're going to have to continue to respect the run. And it's the reason why here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. Okay, they had 7 men back already, and we only have 4 guys forward, if you want to call it that. Okay, 4 guys forward, if you want to call it that. And I believe this is, I want to say that is right here, and this is Dom all the way on the left at this moment. Again, it's one of those situations where you're going like, Dom was playing originally on the right side. He was playing the right mid. Now he's covering on that left mid, and it makes a real difference as to seeing how we end up playing sometimes. Is that we have a form and shape that really creates itself, or creates its own opportunities, because it's more of like the options and the abilities of these players are so it's so reflexive of the ability to take on different roles on the pitch. It allows for them to take on different positions on it as well. Let's see. Says Hata isn't good enough either. Easy upgrade him. I don't know what that Brian. You have to elaborate on that one. I don't know what you mean by that. Surrounding one player either leaves spaces. Football 101, absolutely. That's what I'm trying to do here is football 101. And Brian saying if you can exploit it, that's answer to base. He's saying Klopp is adapting his approach nicely so far. He sounds hungry for more glory. To me, does our manager. I agree. Let's see. Thiago plays well in a double pivot with a strong CDM. I could see again why I'm saying again, and this is why I'm saying that I could see him being if you want to call it a CDM, okay, for our club, or doing that role that we saw McAllister doing, is because it's a hybrid of the DM is what I'm asking. It's again, all these players are somewhat hybrid formations of the roles. I know that being a big player, I play FIFA. I love, I played football myself, but I mean, I play FIFA still because I'm up in age now, and I play Football Manager more so than I do FIFA. And what it is with our players today, you have more of hybrids to every position. It seems like no real player is just outright that role. The only only couple players you could say that with, maybe VVD, obviously. I mean, our back line, different story, except for our wingers, or our right wing backs, or left wing back, or if you want to call it a left full back position of Robbo and Trent. Again, hybrids of the position. Whether it's Gomez, or excuse me, whether it's Diaz, or possibly even Nunez, are pretty much outright a number 9 and a left wing. That's pretty much what I envision them playing. Even though we have seen Nunez play on the left wing, and again, it's a habit of what Klopp does, which is put players into positions, form and shape them into the roles that he needs them to play, and they create and expand on their talents in that role. And it's something that's unique for everything. But again, getting back to this comment about basic flowers, I really see that you could capitalize on Thiago. I really, really emphasize that. Wait and see. I guess it's a wait and see. I guess I'll either be vindicated or crucified. But it's all good. It's all good. I'm that guy. I'm ready for the fight. I know what he says. Brian is saying, I know what Regista is. Klopp has never used him in that role, though. He has 9 months left on his contract. He's on the way out. Okay. I got what you're saying. He has the stats, but he can't do it where it matters on the pitch. Wow, Brian, you did not. I'm not saying you don't rate. I know you rate Thiago, but yeah, you're kind of done with the guy. It sounds like, at least. Oh, big up Rasta Crab in the house. Big up Rasta Crab. What's good? El Tucho. Big up. Rasta Crab representing Big Reds TV. Oh, excuse me, Bejan Reds TV. Excuse me. Bejan Reds TV's, great channel, whether it's Bejan Barnes, whether it's Pops, whether it's even Angel, Bejan Angel, excuse me. They really bring some great entertainment, bring some great analysis, great channel, great guys, and my noisy neighbors to the north. Even though they're representing South America and obviously the Bajans in Barbados, but still, yeah, big up. Andre should replace Thiago in our squad. I agree, absolutely agree with that. Let's see what is on. I'd love us to hand West Ham a real severe defeat on Sunday, overrun them, and crawl all over them. Moises will set up particularly obstinately, but we can deal with that, I think. Okay, I agree. That's a solid point. Again, Brian's still springing up. If you look at Thiago's stats, he obviously is going to look like he can do it, but because he's a world class mid, but that's not where any manager in his career has used him. I agree, but I also think that Thiago's coming too, and you're right. He's got only 9 months. He's got he's getting up in age. I really think that this is a point in time in his career where you can take on different roles, very similar to what we saw with Henderson in the roles that we actually tried to accentuate him into, and it was things that we got to see or got to push the longevity of utilization for Hendo by making him do roles that he normally wasn't really doing. And that's why I say I get it that he hasn't played that Regista role, but you know what? Hey, you know what? It's one of those things where the manager might have a conversation and say, look, I can't put you in this role, in your normal role up front. I have other players that I want to see utilize it in that role. I have players that have better legs underneath them to utilize that role. That's why I'm saying I could see him possibly saying, hey, let's put you in that role that we're seeing McAllister fill right now. Why not? And especially I think that when we need a defensive cover, we put Endo. When we want a more offensive-minded player that can play defense, excuse me, we put in Thiago. Can you not, please, chat? Tell me this right now before I go into more of the tactics here. Could you not salivate over a midfield of Thiago, McAllister, and Dom in that sense? Having McAllister on your left, being that advanced midfielder that we see Curtis Jones play right now, or having a Dom being the presence and the workhorse that he is on the right, and having Thiago being the maestro in the middle. I mean, really, realistically, I think that's what we're asking for McAllister to do in this role right now. Thiago is set and capable with the football IQ that he has of doing that immensely the same. And if anything, he's able to bring about, and here, let me bring this up. If anything, he's able to bring up, if we had Thiago, and again, I'll get back to the thing, but now since we're so enamored with the Thiago, if we had Thiago on and we're able to, if he's able to pick the ball up here and be able to turn and be able to control and be able to move the ball around, we're not going to have to see him utilize his legs. He's not going to be making quick runs. He's not going to be having to do so much work. His main job title would be to control this portion, to be the outlet for these players, whether it's Kwanzaa won't be there, VVD, but whether VVD does the diagonals to Salah or Allison or even VVD or even Konate can give the quick outlets to Thiago, and he'll be able to turn and distribute, or turn and dribble and be able to carry the ball forward. His progressive passing is amazing. His progressive carrying is still adequate. That's the reason why I'm going there. But let's get back to this Wolves game. Let's please get back to the Wolves game. Let's see some of the stats or some of the comments. 4-2-4, 4-4-2, 4-2-4 with Nunez and Jota. Yes. Let's before we get into it. AC Milan, did they draw? That's such a. I'm telling you people, if you can find the book that has this bet, tell me. I know I really want to put this wager in. It's a prediction that I said early. It's something that I think I haven't heard anyone else say as of late or recently at all. But my take is we possibly will see, or most likely will see, 3 out of 4 Premier League teams in Champions League joining us in Europa. That's my call. I know I'll be clipped up by saying that, and especially by Gunners and everyone else. But hey, that's what I really, really see. Bless up my brother. Bless my brother, 12th man. Like, subscribe to his channel. Best content with pure facts. Appreciate that, Rasta Crab. Rasta Crab. We need to get you on. We've had all the Bajans on, but Rasta, you gotta definitely join the podcast one day. Would love to have you on the pod, and giving your insights and giving giving the banter, giving the insights, giving all the great comments that you do. I love it. I love it. Rasta Crab's a true G. Bless up to Psychedelic Shaolin, definitely. And yes, big up to the chat for sure. I'm gonna have a last preview tomorrow. Please definitely check into that. It's gonna be really fun to do. I'd love to hear your comments and your insights on who you think's gonna start, who we think is gonna really cook, and who we think who last. Because I've been watching crazy. I've been watching games of teams I never would normally watch, but I've been watching a couple of last highlights and team play to kind of get a understanding of how and what we're going to be going up against. Let's see. Brian's also saying on Hata, he's here a long time now and still rarely contributes. He's good, but there are better players out there. He's not top bracket. Wow. Brian. Oh man, I gotta read these comments. I would have read that anyway, but I gotta read these comments before I actually read them. Let's see. The elephant is in the room, tough man. Thiago isn't playing because he's injured. Injured, man. He's not available. Oh, and I get that. I'm not saying that at all. Obviously, I understand that he's injured. He's coming back from surgery, hip surgery. You cannot seriously plan a team going forward with someone who's as injury prone as him. I'm not saying that. What I am saying about Thiago is I'm not saying that we plan and say that he becomes our main focus, as in he becomes our main option and only option when it comes to that DM or that 6, if not /8 role, which I'm calling a hybrid 6. What I am saying is that option is available. I'm saying take advantage of these options. I'm saying, if anything, take advantage of these options. Because, like, realistically, we came out in a 4-3-3. We saw what we were getting from McAllister. We weren't getting much because of the legs and everything else. But again, when we went into the shape, still pushing Gomez forward to help with that wing presence and taking control of it, and knowing that Gomez has the pace. That's the most noticeable or underlying thing on here. Is that Gomez has the pace to be able to get back into position, despite the fact that we were seeing him playing such an advanced role. And we're not going to get the crosses from him, like he said. We're not going to get the different things that we're going to say from the whole nine, but that we would from Trent, obviously. But it wasn't. You didn't see Gomez do where you had this Matip on the right and Gomez playing that inverted role in the sense of that he was centrally inverted. You saw him more so being in an advanced wing back position. He did play inverted somewhat in the middle at times, but more so I believe he's playing more of an advanced position in the right wing position. But still all the same, if you do have this format where we had Hakpo, we got the goal from here. The goal that we saw from Hakpo was a brilliant take. That was just total football, was a really great approach that we saw. A pinpoint passing, the ability to find them. Anytime you get a tap in, you're going to see players that I believe have understood their role, their opportunity, and the channel that they needed to take to have a tap in. Tap in shows that you know your positioning, you know when to make your run, you know when the player that you're dealing with, you have almost a telepathic link that you're able to get those kinds of goals. And I think that it's truly a mark of a good player if you can get these tap-ins. But even when let's move on to when Hakpo was taken out. And again, when Hakpo was taken out, we had Nunez come in. We had, let's see, some kinds of TikTok, I think I have everyone on there. 4-2-4. Yeah. So, and this is when Hata was still in the game as well. Look, Hata played that's this somewhat of a, we pushed Salah more central, and we utilized Hata to be that striker position, in the sense of being able to shadow striker, if anything, off of Salah, and that was going to put a lot of pressure. It was, again, forcing them to, if anything, at times almost have a five players in that back line, in essence, because you now have a front four pushing forward, and even so, that Jones, even though we had Jones pressed up a little further, you have Dom pressed up a little bit further here, Gomez pushed up a little further, Robbo pressed up a little bit further here. You're seeing that you're going to still be able to know that Jones and Dom can handle the work. Dom is a workhorse, people. I love Dom. I love the fact that he does it. Oh, you know what? How can I not put my guy on here? Because when Elliot came on and we sat down Hata, I think when you saw this action happen, when we put in Harvey Elliott, Darwin Nunez, and Luis Diaz, it completely changed the complexity of the second half. Completely changed the complexity. Before these three came on, Liverpool was way too passive, way too not aggressive enough to get control and continue to hold on to possession. But when these players came on, you saw a complete dynamic. When these players came on, and you knew that the Klopp was saying, hey, you're going to have, for Diaz, he came in the start of the second half, but for Elliott, for Nunez, you saw the ability to say, hey, go out there and just run, just show real intensity. And Elliott has done that from the very gate of this year. Let's give Elliott proper respect and flowers, because he's been doing his gig. He's been really, really, really doing his work, and it's been something of a real inclusion of him in this team. Because once Elliott got on the pitch, he really started to put on some real differences in the play. And I'm gonna bring up this here. He really started to put on some real inclusion in the play. Because Elliott, Luis Diaz, Lucho, look, this guy right here told Wolves to be quiet. Told Wolves to be quiet, because he has some real impact. He all of a sudden, again, I showed you that run earlier that he made with Robbo, and honestly, if he just puts that on target, that's a goal. Great header, made great contact with the ball, great run. He just didn't direct it where he needed to be. And if anything, if he was going to head it forward, he needed to be more central. That's a goal, one way or another. If you're not going to be more central, then you're going to have to press and push, direct that ball into the right place. But realistically, Luis Diaz made a huge impact when it came to the difference in when he joined the pitch. Huge difference. I know we said that Diaz, and tell me if you disagree, but I think that Diaz's inclusion into the second half was on par, if not on par, to what we saw Neto bring for the Wolves. Neto was lively. He was aggressive. He was active with the ball. He was pressing, pushing the ball forward. That's what you saw with Diaz once he was on the pitch. He was active. He was all over, and it really made a huge difference. Huge difference. Huge difference. So yeah. What was I going to say here? Oh yeah, this is what I was going to get to. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought for a second there. But yeah, so once you saw that, it made a huge difference. And here you pull this. Oops. Huge difference. It allowed a huge difference. I think I want to give proper shout to our young man, Happy Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa played a great game considering that he's the age that he's at. I believe he's 20 years old. But the young man did very well. Took on a lot of pressure. Took on took on some real defensive compliments to Matip, who played well, not great, but yeah, Kwanzaa played excellent, considering his youth, considering the stage he's on, considering the amount of pressure that Wolves are going to put onto his role or onto his position alone, simply because they knew that he's a youth playing this position, and that they're going to try to pinpoint him as being someone that they want to find as someone to pinpoint, someone to try to take advantage of. Let me see if I have any more slides of this. Okay, I believe this is the Hakpo goal. Excuse me. Again, so when it came to a lot of what we saw with the team, I think that a lot of what we saw was once Elliott got on the pitch, all of a sudden you got to see a lot more energy, a lot more a lot more energy, a lot more of him being focused and dialed in, knowing what his role was, and it's I think personally it's why we saw what we did from the goals that we got to see. Hakpo getting subbed off early after the goal. It's not a knock. It's not. I know some people are like, oh, here's your reward. Here's your reward for scoring. Here, find the bench. That's not how it was. Hakpo was going to be subbed off before the goal. I know sometimes coaches will go as far as to say, oh, maybe he's found his form, or maybe he's finally, he's in rhythm with the game, and they'll pull the sub back to allow for him to continue. However, at this part and point, I think that it was necessary to get the subs that we're bringing in. Nunez, again, created havoc, chaos, whatever you want to call it. Our ambassador was a raider of that back line, so therefore you now had a player that was going to create more of an emphasis for that Wolves back line to keep in mind of. Let's keep in mind too that there was a comment that the coach made, that the Wolves coach made, that he was saying, look, their team tried to give it to us in the first half, but in that second half, you know what? They just didn't have the legs. They just didn't have the comparable. They knew that their gas tank was running on E, was running on fumes, and us having the ability to bring on a Nunez, us having the ability to bring on a Diaz, us having to bring on the Energizer Bunny in Elliott, excuse me, to bring on the Energizer Bunny in Elliott, that was the difference. That was the major difference. Because now you have Salah, now you have Diaz, now you have Nunez, now you have Elliott, all energetic, all energized, knowing that they're going to only have 45 minutes to make a run. Hey, man, that's going to be an exceptional task for that defense. No matter, I don't care if it's Wolves, I don't care if it's whoever we're facing. That's going to be a real test for any team to have to deal with. And it's why I say that our options from top to bottom on this team are exceptional. Once we get complete fitness, and again, no team really gets complete fitness. No team's really 100% healthy the entire year, much less at any point of the year, really. But yeah, you're really going to get it. Oh, hello, a new participant. I appreciate it. Good evening. Good evening. Never walk alone, for sure. Welcome to the Mighty Red Army, Trisha. Pleasure to meet you. So yeah, you're going to really get to see a lot of that. And I would love. I think we should all really rally behind a lot of what we're going to be able to see this year from this team, considering our options are going to be really exceptional. And I think that our youth is going to be really have the opportunity to show their own contributions as well, whether it's Doak, whether it's, again, what we're seeing with Kwanzaa. It's the reasons why I do see us possibly making a center back acquisition in January, if not next summer. I do see us possibly hopefully bringing in Andre in the January window. But at the present measure of what we have, we do have some real good options. Let's just hope that we can get fit. Let's just hope that we can get these players healthy. And let's just really hope that we can maintain that fitness. That's the key thing. let's really hope we can maintain it. So again, once we saw the inclusion of those players, we got to see some real differences in the runs that we made. We got to see some real differences in the abilities of to make the runs, but not only to make the runs, to complete the runs. And to see Robbo score was excellent. Hey, I know a lot of us definitely get on him because he's no Riise, but as he doesn't definitely have a shot from outside the box. And Riise had a cannon for a shot when it came to his shooting ability. But but Robbo made a great run. And you know what? It was one of those runs where I give credit where credit's due. It's the reason why I rated Salah very high this weekend, from this weekend. And it's the reason why is that despite you seeing Robbo make that run, you could have used Robbo as a dummy. You could use Robbie not as a dummy, as in like a dumb person, as a dummy, as a dummy run. Okay, to pull someone from that back line to go follow Robbo, and then have a Nunez or have Elliott or have whoever is that in that following role to be able to make the run behind them, and then give the pass to that more offensively talented or adept player. But Salah believed in Robbo, and enough so that he said, you know what, I'm going to make this pass. I'm going to find Robbo with this pass. And doing so was an excellent choice, obviously, in the result. And it was just a beautiful finish by Robbo. I was very impressed by the fact that Robbo was able to just slot that home and give us what ended up being the game winner goal. Great goal. Great goal. The goal from Elliott, which was an own goal, I get it. Excuse me. But that own goal from Elliott, again, was a pass from Salah. And let me grab the board in real quick. It was from Salah. It was Salah having the ball and Elliott being in a position where Salah, again, always having that double team on him somewhat, or having at least two players focused and ready to double team him and smother his options. Giving that pass back to Elliott was a great option, great choice. And I like the fact that Elliott had the confidence to take the shot. I get that it might have been going wide. I get that he was trying to put a little bit of finesse on it to possibly and I think he put too much power. Excuse me. He put too much power on the shot for it to be enough finesse, but that power actually ended up serving him correctly in that it got a deflection to go into the net and ping off the bar or off the post and right in, leaving the goalie solemn footed. But it was a great shot, and I think that again it's just another example of the fact that Salah understands that he doesn't have to score all and every game. Salah leading our team in assists over Trent is exceptional. It's an exceptional role. It's an exceptional talent, and it's something that, hey, I think we need to give him more accolades for, because if so, maybe he'll appreciate the role a little bit more. I know goals are currency, but assists, hey, if you want to call goals gold, silver pays just as well as gold, people. And that's silver being assists is beautiful. Trisha, again, welcome. Salah is sharing more, which is great to see. And Robbo made a great captain as he worked his arse off For sure, for sure. I think that's what we like to see, and something that, again, I understand that he was involved in the goal originally, but is, again, that armband does something to people. I know people want to say it's just, it doesn't really matter. It's just, it's just ceremonial. It doesn't really, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't symbolize something. I think it does. I truly think it does symbolize something. I think that, I think it really symbolizes something to that player. It symbolizes something when I wore the when I wore the armband for my club, excuse me, for my team. It does mean something to a player in that I think we've seen Trent. Excuse me, we've seen Trent. We've seen obviously VVD. I think VVD especially, we've seen an actual raising of level when it comes to in not only importance. Excuse me, I need to get a glass of water. Sorry about that. When you see the importance of the role, you understand you're taking on, with that armband, you're taking on more responsibility. You now are the talisman for this team, as in leading your club out, and it does mean something. Psychologically, in my mind, it does mean something. It gives you a little bit boost in your confidence, and I think that's what we saw in Robbo. Robbo took it on as a badge of honor, and despite the fact that we got scored on and that he was a part of that play, he didn't let it shake his confidence. He was hustling his butt off, as Trisha said. He was there was a couple of runs or a couple of times that he made that he tracked back to get into position to thwart Wolves from scoring opportunities, and then to actually be the person bombing forward to make that run, to see the opportunity at hand and say, you know what, this team has, and again, this is a Klopp tactic, this team being this amoeba total football concept, you're going to have the opportunity to make that run and be able to make that presence. If that opportunity is there, you make it, you take it. And as anything, whether it's Salah, whether it's Nunez, whether it's Diaz, whether it's Dom, Jones, McAllister, whoever has the ball, Gomez, Trent, whoever has the ball, you provide that service for them. You provide that service for them, and it does make a difference. And I agree, Trisha. It's pride wearing that armband. I agree. And Marion, welcome you to the Mighty Reds Army here, Trisha. Big up. But yes, it makes a difference. It makes a real difference. We went over the Elliott goal. We went over the great play by Kwanzaa again, because I think Kwanzaa played well. He had a couple of great clearances, showing no fear about going for those headers. And hey, what can we say, fellas and ladies, of course? We got the win. That's all that matters. I really don't care if we keep clean sheets, excellent. If they're a little dirty, cool. As long as we know that we're putting in the work on the other end and making our opponent's sheets filthy. Okay? And that's what we do. We make our opponent's sheets filthy. And that's what we got. That's the result that we got today. Let's see. I'm going to pop off some of these comments before we head out here. Brian saying Diaz just needs more consistency. Let's see. To his end product, that's all. I think we are seeing a little bit more consistency, Brian. I agree with you. I know that a lot of people have gotten on him. It's a big season for him. He was flying before that injury. Good start to this year. And that's exactly what I was going to say. I think we had a good start from him. I think he's taking on that badge of hearing what a lot of people have been saying about his end product and being unable to possibly create an ability to do the things that we want to see him do. But I mean, he had that. He had a great attempt on the ball with the header. He had another great shot on goal, and it just unfortunately got blocked. But I like you know what I liked out of Diaz the most this year is I like this that his work rate defensively has stepped up a notch, and I think that a lot of people continue to when we think of the left wing or our left inside forward, and I think that Diaz is more of a traditional left wing than Mane was. We see a player that we often try to compare those two players, and it's two players that we shouldn't compare. I believe they're two different players ideologically and everything. So that's just something that we do, just naturally. But I think that what we see with Diaz is that we're going to see a lot of the creativity that we see from Diaz is unparalleled by anyone on this team. I think he's the most with the ball at his feet. I think he's the most creative and the player that we have with the ability to just make something out of nothing, and that's what I love out of Diaz. It's something that I appreciate, and it's one of the main reasons why I've really championed him being a part of this club and definitely making it different. I feel you. For sure. I appreciate you, Marion. Much love. So that's my tactical breakdown for this evening or this morning or this afternoon, wherever we're representing in the world, because the presence that we have in this fan base is so amazing. And if anything, thank you for showing love by representing, by showing comments, by engaging in the chat, by engaging with me in the program. Also, please hit that like button. Share this video with your brethren, with your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your brother, again, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles. Who else do we have? Your dogs, your cats, your goldfish. I don't care, whatever it is. If you got makeup, whatever you got to do, let's all get the Reds involved in this effort to really represent, show love, support for each other in this mighty Red armies that we're slowly but surely building. I definitely appreciate and love the momentum that we're building. I love the fact that we're still undefeated, people, which is super huge. Let me give a shout out. Make sure I give a shout out to Salah. This is the 5th consecutive away game in which Salah has assisted, becoming just the 4th player in Premier League history to do so. The first being Gerard, I'm going to butcher his last name, De La Feu, I believe it's pronounced, in December 2015. Salah joined Cesc Fabregas and Muzzy Izzet on this very exclusive list. It's something, again, it's accolades that I like to see. Let's get Salah some silverware. Continue to allow for him to get these personal records, and maybe entice him to stay with us an additional year. That's another video all in itself. But again, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that I brought a little bit of insight, a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of weaponry to utilize when you find yourself going against the delusional, if not misinformed, and sometimes purposely dropping misinformation rivals, and unfortunately some of the scrolls and some of the the people in our own fan base that have their agendas and don't want to give the proper flowers to this club that, again, got the win. Okay. 4 wins on the year, 1 draw, and we just keep on moving, people. That's all I can say, right? We just keep on moving. Much love, again, much love to the chat, to all my Reds. Let me say this and emphasize this as well as I part here. Let me emphasize this, and I'll pull this up so I can get a full screen here. You'll Never Walk Alone is not just a song, and it's not merely an anthem. It's a statement of intent, and my intention is to make sure that all of us as Mighty Reds are well informed, well supported as always, and well equipped, with the proper weaponry to take on whoever wants to belittle the glory and the culture and the heritage and the brilliance of this magnificent club. And again, I show such love to this Liverpool and the fact that we can all rally around this, not only this club, but rally around the flag, in the sense that to say that we're proper Reds that love and support each other and continue to do so. We might have differing views, but let's have some real proper dialogue to bring about constructive criticism, or to bring about real ideas and solutions, and proper praise when definitely it is adequate to bring it about. So again, I appreciate each and every one of you. I know I'm seeing a little bit of my thing of my latency a little bit, but all the same, proper representation by you as always. Again, please share this, like, subscribe, comment. Let's get this movement moving. We're on the road to 100K, okay? Because I always set my goals high, because hey, you know what? That's what we as royalty do. We are all royalty in this red contingency. So let's continue to reach for glory here. You'll never walk alone, for sure. And with that, let me say, I am out, and I bid you adieu. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, and I bid you adieu. Take care, people. See you tomorrow.